Zela Astarjian, the managing director of investor relations with investment firm Catholic Investment Services, joins us now. Thank you for joining us today, Zela. The Catholic Church is not new at being morally responsible when investing. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Definitely. I mean, Catholic investing morally goes back a long way, right? In the 19th centuries, several Catholic entities decided to oppose slave trade, for instance. And even recently in this century, in the 1960s, actually, a lot of Catholic institutions opposed the apartheid South African situation, and a lot of nuns actually really campaigned for this, and a lot of companies started divesting from South African companies. So they were very successful in doing that, and it's gone on from there, obviously.
It's a great example. How many companies then does Catholic Investment Services represent? And who do you go to when you have a question about something that's ethics related, relating to a particular stock or an investment?
So basically, I mean, we follow the USCCB guidelines, the United States Bishops guidelines, right? And these are guidelines that are telling Catholics how to invest responsibly, in a nutshell. And so based on that, we've come up with a list of companies that we stay away from because they do not invest with Catholic social teaching guidelines, right? Mm-hmm. And that's sort of our secret sauce. Now, we were started by the University of Notre Dame. And we, if need be, if there's a questionable situation, we can always go back to Notre Dame. We can always talk to some of the theologians that they have to talk on a certain matter, for instance.
And you can't give us details about those, the secret sauce, right, that secret list, but can you give us an example of a situation where you'd have to go and speak to a theologian?
Definitely, but for instance, like some of the companies that we avoid mainly have to do with abortions and abortifacients, let's say the life issues, mm-hmm. shall we say. And for instance, one of the companies that's on our list that I can talk about is GE. Why? Okay. Because a small portion of their company does stem cell research. And so that's a name that's a name that's on our list. But in addition to that, there are several other healthcare-related names because the abortions, abortifacients, these are the main issues, life issues, basically, that we're trying to stay away from because they do not abide by Catholic social teaching guidelines.
That's good to hear. There are many large and small Catholic organizations in the U.S. Why is it so important for Catholic organizations to invest according to Catholic social teaching?
It's because, if you're a Catholic, you want to invest responsibly. And this goes back a long way, right? Catholics have always wanted to invest responsibly, be good stewards, invest responsibly. I mean, that's what we keep hearing. And you can do that without losing on return. So why not invest responsibly? There are several organizations who do that right now. One of them is us, obviously. And we're able to produce decent returns while abiding with Catholic social teaching guidelines. So why not do that?
Do you think there's a leadership role that Catholics should be taking in investing in this way?
They do. I mean, a lot of Catholics speak. A lot of nuns, for instance, are very big advocates of Catholic social teaching, and a lot of different Catholic institutions take a stance and have a lot of followers. Yes.
Do you see differences then in how Catholic organizations in the U.S. invest based on the USCCB guidelines, or might they have different interpretations?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. Yes, there are so many different ways of interpreting the guidelines because these are just guidelines, right? So for instance, I used to, before working for Catholic Investment Services, I used to work for another investment firm, and folks would come to us with their list, right? Their list to avoid. And no two Catholic organizations have the same list because you can interpret it different ways, right? Usually the abortion issue, everybody agrees on, but after the abortion issue, things get a little murky. For instance, when it comes to weapons of war, right? That could be interpreted differently. For instance, the nuns don't want to invest at all with any company that produces weapons, but other folks abide by other doctrines, the Augustine doctrine, basically saying that if you have to defend yourself, you have to go buy weapons, so they don't oppose it. So it all depends on the entity. Some folks really want to avoid gambling. Others don't care about gambling and alcohol. So different entities, and there's so many different groups within the Catholic realm, let's say, right?
Right. We've got a universal church, and these are probably issues of prudential judgment rather than issues where there's really, really clear teaching. Zela, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for this, and we hope that more people will come to you for advice.
Thank you so much, and have a great day. Appreciate it.
Thank you. To get a better understanding of the USCCB's Principles for Investment, head to their website for a more in-depth description of the do's and don'ts of where to put your money.